Hey guys, I'm Hunter.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're Mantis Defense.
Today we're out here in Colorado with Deliberate Dynamics at the Pawnee Sportsmens Center. We're out here taking a pistol and carbine course.
Today we're going to get some good footage for you. We're going to do a few interviews and we'll try and get an overall tabletop discussion about this after it's all done and let you guys know what we think.
Alright guys, so we're back here on the East Coast.
We just got back from Colorado not too long ago. We did the Deliberate Dynamics pistol and carbine course. We thought it was really fantastic. We're going to go through and kind of give you guys a review of the full course and talk about some of the requirements and things you need when you go out there. First off, let's talk about what you need to bring with you.
Go ahead, man.
The ammo count that you need to bring is going to be about 300 rifle, 400 pistol minimum. That said, if you'd like, which we recommend, bring extra. There will be an opportunity to shoot it. There are a lot of add-ons, and it's really a very cool system out there, and we'll talk about that as we go.
It's definitely worth it. I would recommend bringing more ammo. We took 1,000 rounds total between the two of us.
Definitely. So. That said, with the gear that we brought, we want to talk about some of the gear we brought and what worked and what didn't for us.
Right. With the gear that we chose, we had to learn in the class that sometimes it doesn't always work in your favor like you think. It might look cool on your gun, it might work, it might not work. You know, you have to kind of pick things and learn to figure out what will work for you. It's just like training. You know, there's different techniques, different styles. You have to figure it out. We actually would like to give a shout out to Freedommunitions because they actually had some fantastic ammo for us. It all ran flawlessly, no issues.
Yeah, we ran it in 9 and the 45.
And the 5.56, yeah.
And the 5.56,
yep.
No issues, no chokes, no nothing.
Yeah, it was great.
It ran great.
I want to say that I'm not into the chest rig thing because obviously I haven't really experienced running something like the Travis Haley D3 or anything like that. So I had bought a HSGI Molly chest rig, and at that point I attached fast mags and everything, and the way the design is, it all folds up into itself, which is pretty cool, so you can make it like a little square bag, I guess. But really, it ended up being taut enough that I could do my mag feeds and everything out of it fine. I was even charging my gun off my mags, you know, all that stuff, so it was awesome. I loved it. And the other company I want to say was I have a soft spot for the Lancer systems. I got that Lancer L15 lower. It has the tactical mag well on it. That thing was awesome for any of the drills. I was reloading like a champ with it, didn't have any issues. Honestly, I could have been sloppy if I wanted to.
Yeah. I even ran it for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was really good. He had it really set up perfectly. I'm left-handed, and it ran fine, ran great for me.
Right.
The mag feeds were great on it. Me being left-handed, I actually ran a SanTan,
yep.
SanTan Tactical lower. If you're a southpaw out there, I highly recommend it. The actual owner of the company, the guy who designed it, is southpaw. So I got to talk to him a while back, and he specifically said I was tired of trying to build things to make them work for me, so he decided to build an entire lower that would work for him and everyone else.
Which I picked up, and it's awesome.
Yeah. During some of the courses out there, you do need flashlights. I ran Inforce while I was out there. I love Inforce stuff. All my lights are Inforce. That said, 90% of my Inforce lights work perfectly. I do have a Generation, which I won't have soon.
Yeah.
I did have a Generation 1 APL handgun light. You can jump around, look on YouTube. There is an actual issue with that one. It's the quick detach, the Gen 1. It's got a little flip switch on it. Anytime you put any type of pressure on it, 9mm 45, you put any pressure on it, you start running rounds through it, it loosens up the spring on it, and it will throw it.
Oh, it definitely threw it.
It definitely threw it to the point where it hit the ground, lit up, and torched everyone on the line in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a very terrible experience. I'm probably going to reach out to them and see if I might be able to work something out. They do have an updated one with the screw on the side, which the APLs, no, the WMLs have the screw on the side, which is a great...
Which locks it in place.
Which is a fantastic retaining system. I know that my Inforce that was on my Iraq build, that got really beat up pretty badly going through TSA to the point where it was cranked off the rifle. I put it right back on, screwed it down again, and ran perfectly, didn't have any issues. So big shout out to Inforce for 90% of their gear.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 of the Inforce flashlights, so...
Yeah. And I mean, they definitely updated it. That said, if you're looking at lights and you're going to use stuff like that...
we have different tastes.
We definitely
But we like them all. I mean, Hunter leans towards Inforce. I lean a little bit more towards the Streamlights. But I mean, we still, you know, we like Surefires and all that other stuff too. So.
Yeah, they're great. We got to take a look. The thing that's really nice is when you're out with a lot of different guys with different backgrounds, stuff like that, you get to look at their gear. There's a couple different items out there that I saw that I'll be definitely picking up in the next few months to try out and run. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pistol Carbine course itself.
The course itself is set, so it's a basic course, but you're learning to self-diagnose. You're learning to be able to have self-correction. So when you're out on the range, you're shooting piss poor, or you know, you're not able to hit your target with a carbine, even if it's only 100 yards. You're learning to actually self-correct and find what you're doing wrong through yourself. Some of the basics that it breaks down into, it's your isosceles stance, it's your grip, your sight alignment, your sight picture. We did mention a little bit, I think, or they did mention a little bit in the class about a hard front post focus and the hard subject focus, because you learn that in a stress situation you focus on your targets versus on your firearm. We talked about the follow through and how every time you take a shot it's supposed to be a surprise. You shouldn't be anticipating your shots. We talked about the recoveries, shooting center mass, which is a higher hit ratio percentage. That's why you learn to shoot center mass. Yeah, you could learn to shoot bullseyes all day, which is great. You want your gun zeroed, but when it comes down to it, you need to be able to put shot on top of shot. Even if it's a 2-inch spread, you're still hitting center mass, as long as you're hitting center mass. You know?
Correct. And part of the reason you want to do that center mass is a lot of it has to do with liability, safety. You have to be aware of not just what's in front of your target and behind your target. You gotta factor in everything, because if you end up punching it through a thin section of the body and it ends up railing off and hitting someone, it becomes your problem real quick. That said, you have a huge cavity that you need to work with. We always recommend that you go for center chest.
Yeah. Also, we did talk about failures, and then we even went into single-hand manipulation, so you learn to draw single-handed both from your strong side and weak side, as well as do reloads. And then we also did a night course. And then the following day, which was Sunday, Sunday we did more on the fundamentals, but it started, I think, it was more carbine-based, in my opinion. But Sunday you did carbine and handgun. There was 2 main drills that we ran in the afternoon, and we actually had to leave, so we couldn't do both of them. We could only do one. But we chose the Contractor Drill, and I don't really have a title for it, so that's what we're going to call it, because the other one is a qualifier that some contractors have to do for their trips, or for their contracts. So, I mean, if you want to go ahead and start talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so let me talk about night, and then I'll roll into the Contractor Drill real quick. So on the night course, we actually did a couple different areas where we did first classroom, where we talked about different handhold techniques for flashlights. One of the things that's very cool about the different stages of this class is they didn't teach one thing. I find that a lot of people come out of classes that we talk to and they say, you know, they hammered this over and over and over again, and this isn't how I do things, so I had a miserable time. That said, Deliberate Dynamics didn't ever say, this is the way that you need to do it. Everything that they gave you was a suggestion. So, perfect example of night courses, we went in and we did classroom time, and they went over 3 or 4 different handholds for flashlights, not just on your pistol, but a separate type of flashlight where you have
for handhelds,
FBI, the push-pull,
syringe, all that.
The syringe, stuff like that, which is really, really fantastic, and you get an opportunity to try them, and I will tell you, some, depending on the flashlight you have, some work really great, some are really awful.
Like the throat one?
The throat one? Yeah, no. I'm a big fan because of some of my former training that I went through. I'm a big fan of the FBI style, which is where you hold your arm out away from your head. That's a police thing, and
I think that was probably my favorite as well, actually.
Yeah, it takes some time to get it reined in, but it keeps it keeps, when people shoot back, it keeps it away from your face or right in front of your body. So I'm glad that they went over all those. That's one I haven't really seen since I did kind of a basic shooting course with that a long time ago. The other thing that we did during night is we ended up going and doing not necessarily a kill house. It was called Cowboy Town. Cowboy Town.
Very cool.
It was very, very cool. They did 2 different ones. They did a pistol one and a carbine one. The pistol side, they had a series of targets, and you'd have to light them up, adjust from your position, because you don't want to ever stand in one place after you let everyone know where you are with your light. So you'd light it up real quick, send rounds, and then move. They did the same thing with the carbine, and it was just longer distances with the carbine. The thing that they also did with the carbine was they also did hostage.
And I completely didn't see those.
Hostage style targets. I would say almost 90% of people in that class missed them. A big thing that you learn to really work with night, and if you get a chance or anywhere you can get an opportunity to go out and do night shooting, I strongly recommend it.
Yes.
That's when, for most home defense situations, that's when you're going to need it most. The thing that is paramount in that is a lot of people end up blinding themselves with their own light by hitting it off of a wall right in front of their face, and right in front of their face, which I would say 99% of the people in the course missed one of the hostage targets because they turned the corner, lit it up, managed to have blow back on the light, and ended up not seeing the silhouette.
I mean, when you're moving with a weapon system, you learn that you need to shine your light up, and if you can almost bounce it up farther in front of you, it's just like flash photography. You're going to bounce the light, and as soon as it bounces the light, it'll fill that area real fast, so you can see what's there, and then you can move into it without illuminating yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, certain flashlight techniques for the handheld, if you're holding it off, it keeps it away from your weapon system, so that way you're not lighting that up. I will say that I really enjoyed the night shoot, and that's because I felt safe. And the honest thing, when it comes down to it, was safety is your #1 priority.
Yeah.
And so we started off in the classroom, then we went to the pillbox, and we practiced shooting there at the box, and it was only 3 or 4 of us at a time. Instead of having everyone on a line shooting, it was only a couple of us, and then you're out there in the pitch black. That way you can get your night vision adjusted, mind you, your real night vision, not some goggles or anything. And then at that point, after you did all that warm-up stuff and all those drills, you moved over to the Cowboy Town. Yeah. And from there, that's when they would separate, and they would take you one at a time to do either carbine or pistol, and then you would swap afterwards. Yeah. Frank was helping out. Jim was running most of the carbine, I think.
Yeah, Jim ran the carbine. Frank ran pistol, and Nick ended up kind of moving between the two, making sure that everything was organized. Yeah. The thing that's really cool with those night courses, like he said, safety was paramount in them. I never felt like I was getting muzzled by anyone.
Right. Yeah.
Deliberate Dynamics took time to make sure that every step of it was really, really safe. They did really great buddy checking system, which is something that we're going to now employ every time we go to the range. We'll put a video up of it at some point so you guys can see that. Very short kind of, if you're working with someone, make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
They tackled that perfectly.
I think what helps is also that when you are signing up for the course, they actually will send you a list. And you have, like, you fill it out and everything. But in that list itself, they actually talk about some of the safety rules that they're going to be enforcing and how they like to run their course. It's just like when you have an RSO, like each range will have different RSO requirements or rules or whatever. But for them, they actually gave you like a little rundown, so that way you had the generic idea of, you know, you have to clear your weapon, you have to do buddy checks and stuff. So like we went into this knowing that it's going to be a safe environment.
Yeah.
So never once was I muzzled, you know. And like you also learn obviously not to muzzle yourself, but that's kind of common sense. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the, I guess, the contractor stuff. Or do you want to do the single hand net?
I'll touch on the contractor drill real briefly. Like he said, we only ran one of the 2 drills on our final day. It is a timed environment. It's I'm trying to think of the term for it. You end up, every time you make a hit on target, it deducts time, but the entire thing is timed. That said, there were some really good times put down there. We're still trying to get our information because we did have to get onto a flight in a hurry. If you checked out our TSA video, you'll know why we had to leave early.
Yeah.
So what it simulates is getting out of an SUV, running down a small hill to cause an adrenaline boost. You end up running up the other side, and then you have to shoot a couple targets far, move back, some pistols one-handed, move take a weighted object with you, move to the next one, continue to fire one-handed while you still hold on to the weighted object, mag change, continue to run the targets, and then get back. All that's timed. It was a fantastic drill. If you check out our Facebook or Instagram, we have some Google Maps that Ryan was nice enough to actually find the location and do a layout of what it looks like, so you guys have an idea if you ever want to run that drill.
I think that drill is really cool, and I really like the fact that we had the chance to do that, because some of the students in the course, they wanted something a little bit faster paced and everything to do, but really, you need the first day to be able to do anything like this. So like, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, let's all go hang out and run this kind of drill. We need to work on the fundamentals, make sure everyone's on the same page before you go into that, because it is bringing everything together. It's learning your speed and your precision. And so during that drill, I made the mistake of going balls out on my run. I was like, oh, I'm just going to sprint for this thing. Grass was high, I had to do high knees pretty much the whole way to get there, out of breath as soon as I got to the carbine position. And at that point, you're shooting from a barrier and stuff, you know. So
yeah. It
pays to balance that, you know. So definitely be in better shape than I am right now.
Take your time. I recommend anybody, if you're going to go do courses like this, take a little extra time, make sure you're in a little bit of condition. It wasn't at all something where you were forced to run or anything like that. This course was very much from absolute basics to, I would say, not advanced, but definitely teetering on to advanced, given that we got to do night shooting, which, that said, the way that they broke up this course is a la carte style.
Yep.
So you have your kind of basic pistol carbine course, which you show up for and do both days of. That's my recommendation. Mm-hmm. You can also tag on the night course if you want. And they also have some really, really long range stuff that they do Monday.
Yeah.
Or they did.
Yeah, you can sign up for it, but
yeah, you can tag on all these little extra odds and ends, which is very cool, because if you're on a budget and you only want to get the basics, you can go out and get the basics. If you want to crank it up, pump up the volume, and really get some more intermediate stuff down, you have that option to tag it on. Very cool. I'd strongly recommend that to anybody. I'm trying to think. We did get a chance, because they're all multiple levels. We got to talk to some of the guys out there. We had people who are public servants in the community, all the way up to former military. I think we had
a few.
Definitely one or two that were former Army that were there, and everyone mixed great.
Right. When
the rules are put down and everyone checks their ego at the door, it runs smoothly. Ryan managed to take the time and checked on some of these guys to see what they thought of the course, and Ryan can kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a few of the guys. We didn't really have time to get any video interview, because it's really hard to balance both the camera gear and the firearms. Like, we're trying to get as much done as we can, so that way we can actually give you an honest answer on this, like an honest review. The guys that I talked to, some of them were first-time shooters, some of them were enthusiasts, you know, some of them were a little bit more in tune to their gear, where they had a lot of stuff, and some of them had the bare bones. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're learning. This course helped teach you what you needed to buy.
Yeah.
And that was what was cool about it, because for us, we found that our gear works. There's certain things that we're changing in our gear, but for the most part, we found that 90% of our stuff is what we want. It runs perfect for us, and like, it's curtailed to our needs. Now, what Hunter runs and what I run is different, but it's what fits you.
It's what fits.
And so I really like that aspect, and I think some of the students learned that as well. Some of the guys, one of the guys was running a Tavor. That was a little interesting to see. He had a little bit of trouble feeding his mag sometimes, I could tell. But then again, it was his first time running that in an actual course. Some of these other guys have taken courses before. Some of these guys, it was their first official course they had ever taken. Yeah. Most of the guys that I talked to, honestly, when I had the time, they really did enjoy the course. They liked what they were getting. They felt safe. They felt that the instruction was good. It wasn't overbearing. It was never like, you're weak, you're out. You know, It was always, let's do this together kind of thing. And as Hunter said, you check your ego at the door, and that was absolutely true.
Yeah.
I never once felt that I was being belittled by not having as much experience as some of the other guys, or having too much gear versus not enough gear, or whatever it may be. You know, like, we felt comfortable.
Yeah. I will tell you, it's paramount to check your ego at the door when you go in there.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I can take away from it that I can hand on to you is, if you go to this course, relax.
Yeah.
For me, it's very funny.
Yeah, you gotta tell them this.
We'll talk about this. Leading up to anything like this, Ryan's one that's always very stressed out about stuff. We got on the flight. Ryan now calls it the magical airplane. got on the flight, landed.
Hold on. As we got on the flight and we're sitting down, I go, wait, Hunter, I feel like we're missing something. And he's like, oh, that's natural. It's just the flight jitters. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
As soon as we land.
I'm sitting there, I'm going, I think we forgot something. And he goes, are you sure? I don't think so. I think you're crazy. So we end up getting out there, and for me, I put way too much stress on myself. We're out there with people that I would say Ryan gets to shoot twice as much as I do currently. He shoots a lot more than I do. But I'd say there's guys out there that I've definitely shot way more than.
Yes.
That said, I would say that some of those guys that have shot probably half or less than me did better than I did day one.
Right. Going
into it. Just relax when you go to anything like this. Don't feel scared. Don't feel pressured to try and perform like an operator while you're out there, like an operator. And that said, take it easy, relax. This course is really for beginners. At the end of the day, if you can't get fundamentals down, you can't move on. And I will tell you, there's plenty of people out there that we've worked with, that we teach, that after working with them a little bit, you gotta stop and say, look, dude, I'll be honest, we gotta roll back to the fundamentals real quick. You have some really bad muscle memory going on, and if you put too much pressure on yourself, you're not gonna get the results that you want. Take it easy. Have fun when you do anything like this. When I was out there, I was thinking about the camera stuff, my shooting, and I mean I couldn't hit the broadside of the barn within the first 2 hours of this course. By the time we started doing the night stuff, I was hitting hostage targets out at 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean I had to go over to him a few times and just tell him, I was like, you told me before I came here, relax. So I told him the exact same thing. I was like, just relax, have fun with it. Like, we are here to have fun. We're here to actually do something and have fun doing it, not just be robots and go through it,
Yeah. So that's my advice to you. I personally highly recommend this course. I'm a left-handed shooter. I didn't feel like an outcast at all. And I will tell you, if these guys, their egos in check in such a way that there was a couple times where they would go over a drill real quick. And I know that there was another left-handed shooter in the group, and for example, they talked about brass checking real quick on your handgun, and they said it, and they were about to move on real quick, and I went, is it okay if you do it like this if you're left-handed? And they were like, oh yeah, that's perfect, and then they kind of mirrored what I had done to show, because they knew there was another left-handed person. Feel free to speak up if you're not getting what you want, because these guys, Deliberate Dynamics, I think it was a really fantastic, they're a fantastic crew, they're really nice. Nick was great sense of humor, really funny. He handled most of the classroom pistol carbines, a lot of the organization stuff on that. I would say coming out of that, I ended up talking more to Nick and got more from Nick as far as position shooting and stuff like that while I was out there. I think Ryan was a big fan of Frank's.
Yeah, Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah, no, Frank definitely helped me in a few spots when I was having trouble, but like during the night course, for example, the first time I did the pistol, it was kind of iffy. Second time I went through, he had helped me on the first one, telling me a few little things here and there, and sure enough, the second time I was running it. So
yeah. And Jim, I definitely want to do a big shout out to Jim. Jim did a lot of the classroom stuff. He did a lot of the pistol stuff, a lot of the group transition. Jim really made that happen. He was fantastic. When you first meet him, it's one of those things. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
I will tell you personally, I didn't feel necessarily intimidated by him, but it was a guy. When I looked at him, I was like, oh, I don't know if he's a guy I want to go ask questions to, or if he's gonna be like annoyed by me.
Well, when you see him, you can tell he's a Marine.
Yeah, he's
and so of course at first you see him and you're like, damn, he is huge, and then you realize he's a guy too. He's a good guy. He's there to help you. He's there to have fun too.
Yeah, and that moment when everyone finally unruffles their feathers when you get into that classroom environment. Because everyone's really tense when you first walk in there. That's normal. But once everyone kind of loosens their feathers up a little bit and starts to joke.
That's when you really start the learning.
Yeah, that's when the learning is. So, like I said, relax when you go out there and have fun. Do you have any?
I mean, yeah, if you're going to do it, you should definitely take the course with them. They offer it in a few different states, I think, but they definitely made it a good time. Yeah. And once, as Hunter said, once everyone got loosened up, everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time, but you're being serious and you're actually learning the right way, because there is a huge mistake with a lot of people where they just grab a gun, they go out and they start shooting. as soon as you start training yourself wrong, you're gonna have muscle memory of it. So by taking the time to actually learn how to shoot properly, how to shoot efficiently and effectively, it's gonna help you in the long run. And so that way you can start applying it to all the courses. And you mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to touch on that, is that they brought a lot of different techniques to the table for you. Some courses offer that, other courses don't. Like some courses will say, this is the way you're gonna do it. It's A, B, and C, nothing else matters, you know. They gave you the options, and they told you what worked for them and why it worked for them. And then you learn really to make it fit your needs. So like, I like weapon mounted lights. I like mine on the left side. I'm gonna reach all the way over if I need to. Whatever it may be, you know, like it might not be the most practical, but it works for me.
Yeah.
So you learn, you really do learn a lot about yourself and your gear, I think, from this.
Yeah.
We met some really good guys out there. We're hoping to make another trip out there sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I should take a moment. In some of our footage, we have Aaron who's on there, which you'll see some footage of Aaron. We'll make sure to tag him on Facebook.
Yep.
Christian, who was very, very nice. He took the time to talk to us and let us really know how he felt about the course.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I actually got to... I hadn't talked to Christian all course, and after we're doing this one carbine portion, next thing you know, we're both standing out there. Everyone's starting to leave for the night, you know, come back for the night shoot or whatever. We're standing there, and so we're like, oh, well, why don't we just shoot out there at the steel target? So, you know, we got the handguns out, and then we got the carbines, and we actually shot each other's guns and stuff just to see how it felt. So
take the time, make new friends.
Yeah.
I highly recommend this course. That said, I want to do a shout out to Deliberate Dynamics for putting on a great course. AA Targets for making it happen, really. Pawnee Sportsmens Center.
Yeah. Awesome location.
Awesome location. I don't know the acre count off the top of my head.
That venue is huge. They have the space to put a 1,500 yard range up, I'm pretty sure. But they only have it at 1,000 right now, right?
Yeah, something like that.
But it's huge.
It's huge. I mean, we had to get in SUVs and drive a mile, almost, pretty much like a mile, to go to different sections of this. Huge shout out to them. Great place. We'll make sure to put them in their Facebook page below. We'll put their notes of their range details in the notes below.
It was really nice that they had the classroom there available for us, so we weren't outside, especially on the windy times.
Yeah.
I also want to say that I think everything was really smooth. The transitions of us going from classroom to the range, between drills, like it was pretty smooth to the point that like, yeah, you had to load up new mags or you know whatever it may be, but you had the time to actually get that before you had to be back up on the line. Or it would be a group A would shoot, group B would watch, and then you would see some of the things that they were learning, and you would try to do it again. So you would just like rotate, and I thought it was really smooth how everything went. You know.
Cool.
All right. Well, hopefully we got some good footage for you guys, right?
Yeah. We'll make sure to get everything that we can up on Facebook. Definitely check the comments. Check the comments below. If you need anything, always ask. We're here to help. Check out Instagram, like, subscribe. As always, I'm Hunter.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are
Mantis
Defense.